Poetry is supposed to teach us something, right? We like to feel enlightened by it. So Tandy feels the same way, hence why she calls herself the Enlightenment. So get ready to learn something, y'all. Put your hands together.
Woo!
You all remember your first Christmas of actually getting what you wanted?
Those happen?
Of the first time your parents let you go to the movies by yourselves? Your first date? Your first kiss?
Yeah, okay, all right.
All these milestones in your life help create the foundation of you. Your cornerstone. I remember the first time my mom made me walk across the street by myself without holding her hand. When I found out that movie stars weren't really the characters they portrayed, which explained how they died in one movie but were alive in another with a different name. I remember a lot of things that may seem simple and unimportant to most, but let me enlighten you to a few of the things I remember. I remember the first time my heart had been pierced by the cruel scenes I viewed reflected off my TV screen of the Jim Crow South, where my African-American brothers and sisters were water holes beaten and bitten by dogs. I remember the unrest that lingered in my heart when I saw Martin Luther King Jr. slain in Memphis after only coming here to stand for equality, something my people obviously deserved, and only to be defeated in physical nature and strengthened emotionally, mentally, just as I will be decades later. I remember the torture that slipped through my soul as I sat in my seat learning about the struggle of my ancestors only a few years ago, and how I could tell it had been a while because I associated the timeline of events with the ages of members of my family, seeing where these events fell and whose lives were altered. I remember the anger that penetrated my heart when I heard of Emmett Till's death in the neighboring Mississippi. The reality that I was indeed judged by the color of my skin, no matter how ultimate ideal appeared, that even little children were caught in the crossfire like the 4 girls murdered in that church bombing. Hate knowing no limits, no bounds, not even discriminate among ages, that I too fell into these trenches that would require me to work harder than my white counterparts. A degenerate, scum, a member of the inferior type I was masked as, although I noticed I created several things like the traffic light, the perm, the elevator, the clock, things that I'm rarely accredited for. A genius, I am. I remember the first time I was introduced to lynching, a cruel practice that I was pretty sure continued to happen in the fields of Tennessee as I watched the film exposing the humiliation of my ancestors' new earthly temples. My heart sat and moaned and wept just as my eyes did. I realized I was brought to a place and changed to work these fields to be a servant, then was unexpectedly free to mock for my beautiful complexion, like I asked to come here. But since I am here, I want only to be seen as equal, nothing more. The rest I will work for. But I was even denied that. Working hard will always be a part of my persona. I remember the first time I heard Strange Fruit. It literally sent chills up my spine as I heard Billie Holiday sing those words so slowly as to be enjoyed like nectar by its listener, to envision my ancestors, the lynched Negro, as a strange fruit. Made me think twice about the reality of the situation, the irony. Horrific images entered my head, but I appreciate the picture discovered in the midst of her words. I remember when I thought all the racial misfortunes had only been deposited along the banks of Memphis, to only find out this thing called the South existed in this place where cruelty was prevalent. I remember this all led to the initiation of my intolerance of injustice and my determination to not take for granted my education, my right to vote, and my freedom to express myself and become a productive citizen. I remember the soul threads fastening together, better known as my heritage, equipping me with a sense of dignity that no one can never pry away from my soul, nor my mind, my cornerstone.